Morning, penguins. Today is Tuesday, and we're going to continue with our theme of environment and recycling. But instead of a song today, I'm going to tell you a little story, and it's all about the messy magpie. Oh, look at all these things. What we've got there, we've got the feathers and tin cans and yogurt pots, lots of things that we throw away. I don't think magpies will throw away. I wonder what they'll use them for. It's often been noted as years have gone by that magpies collect all the things that they spy. They love all the things colourful, shiny and bold, no matter how tiny, no matter how old. So that's all these things. All these things they go after. Morris the magpie is the same. It would seem as he loves to pick up any objects that gleam. He takes them all home to his nest in a tree to make it look special for others to see. Oh, jump a page there. Now one day young Morris was struck by surprise when a gift was thrown down right in front of his eyes. As it flew from a car, Morris said, "Could it be that this human has given a present to me?" He swooped down to pick up the beautiful gift, which was hard to maneuver and heavy to lift. He carried it home, though it took him all day. Then he cleaned up his present to put on display. He wanted to decorate all that he could. So the next day he went to the edge of the wood. He flew to the place where the gift had been dropped, where he saw that a family of humans had stopped. He hopped down to search for his gift on the floor, but he noticed that this time they'd left many more. Shimmering treasures amongst all the green, these gifts were the finest that Morris had seen. Wonder what he's got there. Look at all those lovely different. Oh, sorry. Look at all those lovely different bits and pieces. Look, a full picnic pretty much. All that waste, look, just left in a field. It's not very good, is it? At least Morris is happy that they've left it all. Each day he returned and he couldn't believe all the wonderful gifts that were left to retrieve. His tree was soon bursting with no space for more, so he started to spread them all out on the floor. The more of these gifts that his human friends threw, the more his collection expanded too and grew. Sorry. Look at all that lot, all that rubbish that people have left behind. He's now picked up and it's spreading even further. It's going into the water. Not very good, is it? Then one day, as Morris was sat in his tree, admiring the beauty of all he could see, he noticed things were now changing below, that the plants were all dying and struggling to grow. Oh dear, not good, is it? The grass was not green like it had been before. The flowers were wilting, not bright any more. His animal friends watched in fear and distress as their hopes and their food were soon lost to the mess. Oh my goodness, I hope that poor little hedgehog doesn't get stuck in that because that could be serious. He turned to the stream, which no longer looked blue, but instead had a terrible muddy-like hue. The water was flowing more slowly that day, as the big piles of rubbish were blocking its way. "Oh no!" Maurice cried. He gasped with alarm. "I never intended to cause all this harm. The forest is damaged, the humans weren't kind. All these gifts were just rubbish that got left behind." The pride Maurice felt for his lovely display was soon turning into sadness, regret, and dismay. He adored the collection he'd lovingly built, but his joy had now turned to a feeling of guilt. He vowed to himself he would put it all right. So he leapt off his branch and then quickly took flight. He soared high and low, looking out for a clue that would show him the safest and best thing to do. He noticed a truck driving past on the road, which was filled with a familiar load. Oh, look at our recycling. Oh, look, there's our recycling sign. It's going into the recycling with all the different bins. Look, plastic, aluminium, cardboard. He followed the truck to see where it would go, feeling hopeful he'd find what he needed to know. Maurice arrived at the bustling place, which had giant containers and masses of space. Each bin had a sign marking what it was for, and the rubbish piled up, with each car adding more. All that rubbish, goodness me. "But where does it go?" whispered Maurice, confused. To his shock a voice said, "It gets crushed and reused." A seagull appeared, then said with a sigh, "It's amazing what humans can do when they try." "That's it," Maurice said, and he knew what to do. "If I bring it all here, they can make it something new. I might need some help, but I must make amends." So he called on a couple of very good friends. Oh wow, look at all those friends that are going to help him. Look, just like you guys have friends, he's got lots of friends to help him too. They fetched and they carried for most of the night, and they worked as a team till they'd put it all right. When the rubbish was gone, Maurice looked all around, at the stream and the flowers, the trees and the ground. He desperately hoped he'd made enough room for the beauty of nature to once again bloom. He planted and watered and nurtured away till the forest was thriving and growing each day. Then Maurice knew nothing would make his heart sing like the colourful beauty that nature could bring. He no longer needed the shiniest nest, and he realised that having a green home was best. So he didn't need all this rubbish anymore. He realised that all he needed was the beauty that surrounded him already. Lots of beautiful things. What would we see in a forest or our gardens? We see lots of lovely things. We can find butterflies flying, birds singing. There's lots of trees and pretty flowers and pretty leaves too. Lots and lots of things. Did you notice how that rhymes? How we can rhyme. Something else we're going to be talking about later on this week. But our little activity today is going to be to go outside, either in our gardens or go for a walk with our adults whenever. It doesn't have to be today, but whenever you can do it. And you're going to do a little bit of a survey. A little bit of a survey. And what do I mean by a survey? Well, you're going to make up a little chart like this, like my one. And all I've done here is I've made some columns, and what you're going to do is, it's a bit of a little tick sheet really. So you're going to go out in your garden, or when you go for a walk, and you're going to look and see how many, it can be your list, I've got how many different types of leaves, sorry, how many different types of leaves, how many butterflies, how many birds, how many different types of flowers, how many different types of insects. So each time you see one of these, so if you see a leaf, you're going to just do this, one of those. Okay, just going to do a little mark. Okay, and then how many butterflies? Oh, you might have seen 2 butterflies. We do 2 marks. How many birds? Oh, there's lots of birds I can see. So we might possibly have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we do 4 birds, but actually I've got 5. So when I get to 5, I'm going to go like that. So it makes it easier to count later on. Then, how many different types of flowers? Oh, wow. Well, how many we can see? We can probably see a rose, a daffodil, a geranium. Okay, so as you see them, you're going to just do a little mark again. And then how many different types of insects? Whoa, how many different types of insects are there? Oh, I might see a worm. I might see an ant. I might see a snail. I might see a bee. I might see a wasp. Oh, wow. I might see a butterfly. Even though I've got butterflies up there, it's still an insect, so it can go down there as well. And then all I'm going to do afterwards, when I come back in, I'm going to count how many things and put the total there. So here I have 1. So I'm going to put the total 1. Here I have 1, 2. I'm going to put 2. Next one, I'm going to have what we've got. Oh, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and that one means 5. So I can go 5, and then I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 3 in, and last but not least, my in. Oh, I don't think I see. We're doing this, and then we're going to put 1, 2, 3. So because I've got this one is a dash across, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. You don't have to do it like this. You can just keep doing strokes. It doesn't matter. So that is what you're going to do, and that is going to be your tally chart for today. So that's your little activity today, to show you how I made my chart. I just literally have my title. So I've put what's in my garden, but you can have your title whatever. You can have it tally chart. You can have what's in my garden the same. And then what I did, here, so right, so all I've done is I've gone straight across, done a little smaller column there, and then after that I've just used my ruler and I've just got, oh sorry, that's not very tidy, it's got something under me. Just make sure if you're leaning on something like Michelle that you don't, it's not bumpy, and then you just carry on down and do some columns. I'd say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and oh sorry, really made a mess of that. And then what I've done is then you can go along down there, and just a little bit over here, because you're only going to write a number in there, so it doesn't have to be big. Save more space for your tally. So this is the subject, what you're looking for. So you can pick the same as mine, or you can do yourself. This is the tally, and this is the total. So that's your three. So you have subject, tally, total, and your title up here. Mine was What's in My Garden? And then, like, I put how many different, you can put these, or you can choose your own. Okay, how many different types of leaves? Get your adult to help you. How many butterflies? How many birds? How many different types of flowers? How many different types of insects? So you can have the same subjects as me, or you can pick your own subjects. Okay, it's just like a little nature trail. You're going to do a little tally as you go, and then obviously once you've finished spotting all these things, you just write your total at the end of each column, so you're adding them up. I hope you enjoy that activity. It's a combination of lots of different things, that activity really, but primarily it's for your numeracy. So I hope you enjoy that. It's maths with a bit of fun thrown in, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, penguins.